Coming up on today's Locked On Angels, it's free agent season. The regular season and postseason have officially come to a close, so we will take a look at some of the things that you guys are talking about and take a look at the Angels free agents right now. Plus, a look at the whole Halos farm system. We're recapping minor league week, talking about its strengths and weaknesses. Plus, Buster Posey is retiring, and we're going to talk about his connection to the Angels in our last segment. That's all coming up right here on Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Locked On Angels, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day every single day. I'm Steve Granado, your host. You can follow me on Twitter at Steve Granado, Granado. Of course, this episode is brought to you by Spotify Green Room. Download the Spotify Green Room app and check out one of our Locked On rooms. All right, we're going to dive in. We have some stuff that we did on Twitter. Of course, all week we did minor league week, so there's some catching up we need to do with you guys and what we've missed here through the end of the postseason and, of course, the start of the official offseason. Before we jump into that, remember my merch, 27 merch. It's right here, the 27 logo. Look at that. If you're watching on YouTube, you know that's a pretty good-looking sticker, a pretty good-looking logo. We got that one. Of course, we got Just the Halo sticker, and we have tons of T-shirts, hoodies, jackets, all that stuff available right now on Redbubble. It is linked in the episode description. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. We asked everybody right as Game 6 was coming to a close between the Braves and Astros. Braves obviously ended up winning the World Series in 6 games. We asked Angels fans with like 2 outs in Game 6 of the 9th inning. We asked Angels fans, will the Angels make it to the World Series in 2022? 261 votes, and you guys voted yes. So some optimism around the Angels fan base, which honestly, being an Angels fan and having followed this team for 2 decades plus, nearly 3 decades now, that's pretty good. 60.9% yes, 39.1% say no, 261 votes. Call it blind optimism, call it hopeful wishing, whatever you want to call it. Majority of Angels fans are saying yes, the Angels will make it to, not just to the postseason. We asked specifically the World Series, and of course we got responses and stuff, but a lot of yeses. So hey, look at that. For all the folks around who are saying Angels fans aren't optimistic and there's not a lot of things to be excited about, there you go. Angels fans are saying yes. Nearly 61% of them are saying the Angels will play in the World Series in 2022. So that's pretty cool, man. I'm glad there's some optimism. If you're curious about what I think the Angels need to do to make it to the postseason and make it to the World Series eventually, we had a video on that last week, an episode on that last week called What the Angels Need to Do to Get to the World Series, essentially. So I will leave that linked here on the episode description on YouTube if you want to check that out. We broke it down, roster construction from top to bottom, what the Angels need to figure out. And of course, we're going to be doing that all off season, especially starting up next week. So stay tuned for all that stuff. Of course, if you're on our audio side, just scroll back. You'll find that episode, What the Angels Need to Do to Get to the World Series. Let's go ahead and talk about the Angels now that free agency has started officially now that the World Series has ended. Guys have got the options claimed or not claimed, all that stuff throughout Major League Baseball. So here it is right now. Bill Shaken laid it out perfectly, the LA Times, so might as well just use his tweet here. Here are the Angels free agents, straight up. We've kind of talked about some of these guys, but here we go straight up. Dylan Bundy, Steve Cishek, Alex Cobb, Dexter Fowler, Raisel Iglesias, Juan Lagares, AJ Ramos, who, full disclosure, I didn't even realize was an Angel. He only pitched 4 games. And then Kurt Suzuki. We've talked about a lot of these guys already. We talked about this early on in the offseason, like over a month and a half ago. So just as a refresher, here are the guys that are free agents. The Angels didn't agree to extensions with any of these guys. So I think the big one is Raisel Iglesias. And then one of our listeners obviously chimed in with this one. This is coming from Michael Torres. He's checked in on the show. Hey, Michael, thanks for sending us your tweet. He said, Iglesias is a must. And I think no one would deny that at this point. Cobb would be a nice back of the rotation starter, and his clubhouse leadership is a major plus. Everyone else is expendable, IMO, in my opinion. That's again coming from our friend Michael Torres over on Twitter. So thanks for checking in with us, Michael. Yeah, I don't think anyone would disagree with where you're coming from. Iglesias is probably, if you're only going to pick one, is going to be the guy. If the Angels can get Steve Cishek back on, maybe lower deal, a 1-year deal or something like that, then I don't think that would be harmful at all. The free agent market is starting to pile up now with a lot of guys declining options and stuff like that. There were a lot of relief options. We're going to talk about all these guys starting next week. Again, we're going to do our Making the Case series for making the case for specific free agents, talking about them at length and seeing if they would be a good fit, what the Angels could do to potentially sign some guys here in the offseason. And again, we talked about roster construction all week, really, in Minor League Week, and then, of course, in our what the Angels need to do to get to the World Series episode. So there's still tons of things to be done. Raisel Iglesias is obviously the guy, and he was interested towards the end of the season in signing an extension or at least re-signing with the Angels. He obviously has gone to free agency, so anybody can come in and swoop in at this point. But the Angels will clearly make an attempt to get Raisel Iglesias back. That's clearly one of the better free agents on the market, and as far as bullpen guys is concerned, and of course, definitely as a closer. Only other one besides him, really, that's a big closer on the market is Kenley Jansen. So if the Angels don't sign Iglesias, might look to them going after Jansen and keeping him in California. Obviously, the Dodgers closer for years and years and years. With that, there is some other dumb stuff that happened. It is fry dumb. After all, we're not having a full segment, but this is one of the dumb things. I didn't follow this person. I actually don't even know who this person is. But it's a tweet that came over on Twitter. Pork Chopper 995. Great name, whoever this person is. No idea who it is. But replied to Marcus Stroman, who obviously is now a free agent, was pitching with the Mets this past season, former Toronto Blue Jay, and starting pitcher, if you don't know who Marcus Stroman is. But he said, wishing you the best in the free agent process. I would not be upset if my Angels showed some interest in you. So Pork Chopper 995, you're an Angels fan. Hopefully you're a Locked On fan. But Marcus Stroman replied, could be a great fit. And it begins, folks. Here we go. It starts now. This is free agency. And Marcus Stroman, once again, is drumming up the rumors. Obviously, Angels fans were making a pitch for him last year, and I saw him engaging with the Angels fan base. And here we go again. We'll have a whole episode dedicated to Marcus Stroman. So, Marcus, if you're watching, man, Locked On Angels would love to have you on. Love to have you on. Make your case. Come make the case here to see if you would be a good fit in Anaheim. I think personally you would. Marcus, if you want to come on the show, man, this is an open invitation. I'm way out there. But yeah, of course, this kicks off free agency, and I think this is like the most obvious need the Angels have. We've talked about it at length with the free agent market as it is right now, and some of the strong pitchers that are on that market. The starting pitching, most notably, Marcus Stroman's going to be one of the guys that's going to be highly sought after. We know San Diego's looking at him. I talked about that on Locked On Padres last week as well. So we've talked about this kind of stuff. Again, it's all right here on the Locked On account. So if you're looking for that kind of thing, we have tons of videos on that here on the YouTube side. But yeah, Marcus Stroman. You guys want Marcus Stroman? Let me know. Let me know at Locked On Angels. Of course, you can also give me a phone call, 714-409-6396. That's 714-409-6396. Save it in your phone. Give me a call. Do you want Marcus Stroman? Do you want Marcus Stroman? I do. Not going to lie. I want Marcus Stroman on the Angels. I think it would be a great fit. I think he could really shine in Anaheim and be a big part of this rotation, if not the biggest part of this rotation. I think the Angels need to go after him. Again, we will be making the case for him. We'll be making the case for tons of free agents starting next week. We're really going to dive into some off-season content here. So let me know. Give me a phone call. And while you're on that phone call line, don't forget to leave us a voicemail for Monday mailbags. We take questions on Mondays. So why don't you go ahead and start there. We will do that this coming Monday. Do you want Marcus Stroman? Do you think the Angels are close? Let me know. All right, coming up next, we will be reviewing Minor League Week that we did all week long. We checked in with every single broadcaster in the Angels system, and we're going to see what the true state of the Angels minor league system. I'll give you my thoughts on what the minor league system is looking like right now after everything that we have learned. Before we get to that, I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by Built Bar, the protein bar company. And just to let you know, we're coming up on Thanksgiving already. We're only a few weeks away here in the United States. For our outside United States Angels fans, I love Thanksgiving. It is my favorite holiday because I love to eat. I'm like Jack Black in School of Rock. I love to eat. Tons of great food. Obviously, the sweets are a big part of it as we head here into the holiday season. But you know me, I'm trying to cut back on sugar, and the best way to do that is Built Bar. It's the perfect time for Built Bars. It's the new holiday dessert. Feast on something delicious and feel good about it. I hate to be the one to break this to you, but A slice of pie can have upwards of 300 calories, and that's on the low end. Most Built Bars are only 130 calories rather, and only 4 grams of sugar, and they got plenty of protein. That's the good stuff right there. Replace the coconut cream pie with coconut Built Bar or raspberry Built Bar instead of a raspberry pie. You get the idea. They got plenty of flavors. Low calorie, low carb, low fat, high protein, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. It's a great option for when you're hungry, and if Thanksgiving isn't getting here fast enough for you, why don't you go grab a Built Bar? New surprises all month, by the way. Limited flavors are coming to Built.com, so make sure to check back on that website. And while you're there, use the promo code LOCKED15. Built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right, folks, back here on Locked On Angels. As promised, let's talk about minor league week a little bit more now that we have a chance to talk to you about it. Again, if you missed any of it, it is already linked in a playlist on our YouTube account. Go subscribe to our YouTube account. That's Locked On Angels on YouTube. So there's plenty of stuff to talk about. If you missed any of the episodes, we caught up with every single minor league broadcaster to see what happened in 2021. Tons of good information, 2 hours worth of information just covering minor league baseball this year. So here's what we learned. Let's kind of talk about it, debrief a little bit. If you listen to all of them, now you can come here and we can debrief about what happened this year and the state of the Angel system. The focus in the Angel system right now seems to be on relief pitching, which is a good thing. A good thing that hasn't necessarily been there for a while, right? So the relief pitching side of things in the Angels, that's where they are the most stacked. We know about all the pitchers the Angels took this year in the draft, every single pick. You know all this stuff. If you're watching Locked On Angels, I imagine you know all this already. But with that has happened something of a consequence because of it. The shortened draft last year and the all pitchers taken this draft. The Angels' position player market, or at least their strength, is not a strength, essentially. The position players seem to be lacking. Some of the bats seem to be lacking right now in the farm system. That side of the coin has been taken a back seat, essentially. It doesn't seem like there's a bunch waiting in the wings right now to be a part of the team, at least next season. Couple years down the road, there's a few guys. Some of the guys that we learned about at AAA, guy like Brendan Davis, right? We talked about with Steve Klauke at the AAA level with the Bees this year, a middle infielder, but he needs defensive help. Other guys that he mentioned was Jake Gatewood and Michael Stefanik. We've talked about Michael Stefanik. You probably know about Michael Stefanik, a guy that came over after sending a couple YouTube videos around Major League Baseball and ended up being signed by the Angels. He needs some help with defense as well. These guys that need a little bit more seasoning here at the AAA level, doesn't look like they probably will make a Major League roster out of spring training. So there's a couple of guys right now waiting in the wings that are kind of close, but not ready yet, at least that are like immediate impact kind of guys. Other guys, you look a little bit further down to like the high A level, low A level, Kyron Paris, Jeremiah Jackson, those guys are years away. So those aren't guys that are going to make an immediate impact right now. For Double A, we were talking with Josh Carey, the Double A Rocket City Trash Panders. A lot of players on that squad this year were plucked from other organizations to fill the gaps. We know about the quick movement the Angels had at the double AAA level to pull up relief pitching, and guys like Reed Detmers, obviously. Other guys that we learned about here are guys that you probably already heard about or watched play this year at the Major League level. Cooper Criswell, Evis Poguero, Packy Naughton, Austin Warren, and then, of course, Reed Detmers. So those are some of the guys that moved quickly through AA, past AAA, just rocketed straight to Anaheim. So there isn't a ton. Again, we're talking about position players. There aren't a ton here at the AA level that really surprised or really caught the eye, especially of Josh Carey, who we talked about. Most of the guys that are promising or are close, we've already seen. So there isn't a ton at the AA level. They had a pretty decent team this year, fell off at the end of the year because of those big call-ups at the end of the season. So, but if you go down a little bit lower, these are where the names kind of drift back in. High A, we see Sam Bachman played here. Obviously, Bachman got called up as well, but Sam Bachman made his his minor league debut here at High A Tri-City. We talked with Chris King about the Dust Devils this year. Kai Bush, another guy that is on the radar, right? And then there's a couple of other guys that were mentioned by Chris King. Colton Ingram, a left-handed pitcher, he was pretty high on. He ended up going up to Double-A and pitching a little bit and having a pretty decent short stint with the Trash Pandas this year. So there are some hidden guys at this level here at the high A level, but the big ones are obviously your Bachmans and your Kai Bushes right now. And then if you go a little bit lower to low A, these are guys that, again, we've mentioned already, like Kyron Paris, Jeremiah Jackson, as far as that is concerned, from position players. So there's not a ton here to get excited about. There were a few names on the pitching side, but again, are for a few years away still. And that's kind of the nature of it, right? Low A ball, that's, the lowest end. Yes, I know there's a complex league and stuff like that, but this is where this isn't immediate impact level. This just isn't it right now. And we know that, guys like Jose Guzman, the infielder, who kind of surprised there at the low A level with the 66ers this year. But the 2 years of not getting a ton of position players with the shortened draft and then all pitchers this year, it's starting to have an effect at the lower levels, which means we're about 2-3 years away from that really having a major league effect. So there will be somewhere down the line here in a couple of years, the Angels are going to have to go out and get some position players, maybe start redrafting in a more quote unquote normal sense in 2022 to kind of fill those gaps and get some more exciting players. Because, hey, I know we talk about pitching like crazy here and Angels obviously need pitching, but guys are going to hit the ball. Someone's got to field it. So that's when you want a well-balanced system. And the Angels are going to probably start moving towards that, moving down the draft here in the future, especially if they start getting some free agent targets at the starting level, major league level ready, AAA level guys. That may be where the Angels shift in the draft moves forward. Coming up next in our final segment here on Locked On Angels, big news in Major League Baseball. Buster Posey is retiring. The longtime Giants catcher is moving on with his life and will be done with the San Francisco Giants. We're going to talk about his connection to the Angels in just a second, but don't forget, this episode is brought to you by Bet Online. They are back and better than ever, a new web interface for the start of basketball season and football season, and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. It remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head on over to Bet Online for their new updated desktop or mobile website and sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code Locked On. That's Locked On, all one word, to receive your bonus. Basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, Vegas casino games. They got it all over on Bet Online, so don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers for 2021. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. Bet Online, where the game starts. Final segment here on today's and this week's Locked On Angels. Buster Posey, man, this is a wild one. He's been dealing with injuries, we know, and he skipped out on 2020, but he had a great 2021 and obviously led that club to 100-plus wins in San Francisco up north. So this comes as a bit of a shocker, and it's Locked On Angels, so it must be big if we're talking about another team, especially retired. He announced on yesterday, if you're watching this the day it comes out or listening to this the day it comes out, he announced yesterday that he is walking away from baseball. Pretty big news. I'm going to go ahead and send it on over to Ben Kaspick of Locked On Giants. This is what he had to say when the news broke on Wednesday.
It should go down as one of the most decorated careers in baseball history and one of the most important careers in the history of the Giants. Buster Posey is walking away from baseball, retiring after over a decade in the sport, all with the San Francisco Giants. Ben Kaspick with the Locked On Giants podcast. He has accomplished everything a player could hope to accomplish at the major league level. Rookie of the Year, MVP, multiple All-Stars, multiple Gold Gloves, multiple Silver Sluggers, 3 championships, comeback player of the year twice, including this season, led his team to 107 wins, has caught one of just 23 perfect games in Major League history. So in some ways, this is shocking, but it's also not that surprising. The writing was on the wall a little bit. Posey is walking away from at least $22 million that would have come to him had the Giants picked up his club option, which was going to happen at least, if not an extension.
Pretty crazy, man. We're talking about the connection to the Angels here. For those who don't know, I know a lot of people do know this at this point, but Buster Posey was drafted by the Angels out of high school in 2005. He obviously went to Florida State and just absolutely crushed NCAA ball. He was a 50th round pick, the Angels' final pick in 2005. But at the time, Buster Posey was only a shortstop and a pitcher. He ended up going on to Florida State and doing some of those things too. This is where he started catching, but he would be the closer for the Seminoles at the NCAA level. So pretty crazy that he didn't start catching until college. This 2005 draft, I actually went back and looked at the 2005 draft from the Angels side, and boy, it was a really, really weak year. Nothing really panned out. The Angels actually, I didn't realize this, drafted Chris Davis this year. He was a college guy at the time. He got drafted 3 separate times. Obviously, ended up going on to play for the Orioles. He passed this year. It was the second time he got drafted. He passed, then got drafted by the Giants or the Orioles rather, and then moved on to play in Baltimore. Obviously, has gone on to retire since. The only guy that really made an impact in the 2005 draft. This is going to be a bit of a blast from the past. Peter Borges. Peter Borges was drafted in the 2005 draft. Obviously, he played a couple of years in Anaheim. Remember the debate between Trout and Borges in center field? That was a long time. That's why the Trout farm is in left field. Remember that? Man, what a wild, different time. Peter Borges, I mean, he was a heck of an outfielder. Obviously didn't have the power to go along with it like Trouty did, but a heck of a defender. So yeah, 2005, not exactly the strongest Angels draft year, but they did find a very, very young Buster Posey. He obviously was the last pick of that draft for the Angels, a 50th rounder. Man, 50 rounds, rest in peace. But just a few short years, Florida State jumped up to a first-round pick. And, I mean, hats off to Buster Posey, man. What a heck of a career. What a heck of a ball player. A guy that I always looked up to, a leader of that franchise. And he will be missed. I know that we don't get to see him very often. I never personally got to see him play, in person. But, man, it was always a joy to watch Buster Posey work behind the plate, move to first base when he had to, but the injuries derailed. And, don't forget that ankle injury, that broken ankle and that collision at home plate is one of the big reasons why we don't have collisions at home plate anymore. So weirdly enough, Buster Posey's impact, not just on the field, but, to the rule book is felt across baseball. And, there will be debates about the Hall of Fame and the shortened seasons that he played in and the comeback player of the years that he has won and the Gold Gloves and the World Series. And, it's pretty wild to say that Buster Posey will no longer be playing Major League Baseball, but, tip my cap, man. I always enjoyed watching him from afar. And what could have been if he had said yes to that 50-round draft pick, went to Florida State, and the rest is history. So pretty wild, man. See you later, Buster Posey. That is some crazy stuff. Let me know how you feel about that. Did you know that Buster Posey was drafted by the Angels? Obviously, you can let me know anything on Twitter at LockedOnAngels or in the episode comments here on YouTube. Of course, you can always chat with me. I'll be hanging out in the comments to talk about Buster Posey and, of course, all the things that we have talked about here today. Give me a phone call for our Monday mailbag, 714-409-6396. That's 714-409-6396. Copy and paste it from the episode notes. It is in there. Save it to your phone and call us whenever you want. 365, 24/7. Give us a call whenever you want. Don't forget to check out my merch, 27 merch. Available now. The Shohei Ohtani MLB logo is available. I think that looks super sweet on a white pullover hoodie or a white crew neck. That would be really sweet if you want to check that out. Or, of course, if you just want a classic 27 logo sticker, man, it looks great. Also, just throw it on your chest. Just get a t-shirt with that. I got mine coming in here soon. Very excited. But yeah, all that stuff is available on Redbubble, linked. And of course, my other podcast, if you want to listen to some other stuff, I got a great one for you. If you want to learn about baseball history and things that you have never heard of before, a podcast I made called Our Game, examining the Latin contributions to American baseball. We asked the question, who is the Latino Jackie Robinson? And found out that the answer was extremely complicated. Plenty of great information, 8-part docuseries if you're looking to fill some time in the offseason and learn about baseball. If you need to scratch that baseball itch, go check it out. That's Our Game, available on podcast platforms everywhere. Of course, in my other podcasts, as we wind down the season, or ride down the year rather, movies I should have watched. My best friend Alex and I are watching a bunch of old movies that we missed over the years and finding out if they still hold up. Back to the Future, Jaws, RoboCop, 16 Candles, a bunch of movies. We are coming up on a full year of that podcast. So there's plenty of stuff to be listened to right there. If you're interested in that, I'll leave that link below as well. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. For your second, you got to keep up with the MLB. You got to keep up with free agency. So check out Locked On MLB with Paul Francis Sullivan. He's bringing you his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present. It's free and available on all platforms. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us in today's Locked On Angels. Thanks for checking us out all week. Again, Making the Case starts next week. Our Monday mailbag, still plenty of stuff to talk about. Marcus Stroman, come on the show. All right, guys, have a safe weekend. Have some fun. Enjoy some basketball and football and hockey and all that good stuff. We'll talk to you guys next week. Later.